Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Walla in the biology department here at Colorado Mesa University. And today you are here to speak with me because you have been identified as what I call a candidate for change. And that means that you're halfway through your semester and you've been trying hard, maybe not, but you're failing or doing very poorly in at least one of your classes. And so what I'd like to do is give you some advising advice, to give you my suggestions on how you go about making the next decision, which is quite an important decision for you in your academic career. And that is, how are you going to deal with this class or classes that you're not doing well in, and how's that going to affect you in the long run? So I do think this is a very important decision for you, particularly if you're a freshman just getting started in college. So let's remember, the first thing that I like to think is everyone has a different reason for being in college, and you got to ask yourself why you're here. And I like to think that you're here to increase your intellectual development, your strength as a human being, your contribution to society. All of these things will be developed during your college career, and you get to maximize your potential as a citizen of the world, really, through becoming an effective and educated college student. That being said, let's redefine another characteristic of your career, which I like to call success. So, what is success for you? And each person has to measure that individually, but I'm going to go ahead and define that as passing all your classes and making adequate progress toward a bachelor's degree, which means that somewhere in the next 4, 5, or 6 years you're going to plan to graduate. That schedule is different for each person who's out there, and if you're an associate's program, it may only be 2 to 3 years that you're looking at for your window. All right, but I'm going to take success because some people are think that you're going to go to college and you're just going to get A's in everything. Okay, maybe that's not going to happen for you. Okay. What is going to be success? So define your own success. And I think that getting C's or B's in all your classes is success because you're making progress. Once you can achieve that, you can move to the next level of getting A's and B's in all your classes. All right, so you're here today, though, because you've got a problem in at least one of these classes. That means you've got two choices. And the way I see those choices, you can either reprioritize your life, or you can, cut your losses. And this comes down to essentially, why are you having a problem in your class? Most students, it turns out, their priorities are not aligned with performing well in college. You have a lot of things in your life. You've got your family, your friends, you've got loved ones out there, you've got your own personal issues you're dealing with, okay? And you've got your school career. Go back and look at those priorities, write them down, and decide where do your classes or that particular class fit in that hierarchy, those list of priorities, okay? So you might put up there job, family, friends, school. All right? And this is a time when you reprioritize. If you're failing at school, if it's too low on your priority list here, maybe you need to move it up. And if you think you can do that, you do what I call it, you're going to take action. Okay? I like the take action part. So don't just think about it, actually do it. Arrange your calendar so that your schoolwork comes first and then comes other things in your life. You got a busy job, cut the hours in your job. You don't need that much money. You don't need the fancy rims you were going to buy for your car. Cut the hours, all right? You were going to plan to go home to visit your family over the break for Thanksgiving. You got to make that decision. If that's important to you, good. But if you need to, stay home and study. Maybe you need to stay in your dorm and study over break, okay? So those are some examples about the types of actions you can take. I'm also going to tell you to go see your professors. Some of you have failed so utterly miserably on your first or second exam that it may look statistically like you cannot pass a class. That may not always be the case. Go ask your professor what you would need to do to get a passing grade in this class. And you might be surprised. A lot of professors, some anyway, will give you some credit for having improved, and that is they may limit the damage that your first exam will do to you. I'm not saying you're going to get an A or B out of this, but you might be able to pass a class just by going and getting a word with your professor to see if improvement counts towards your final grade, which it may. All right, now that you've done this option, get it together and fix it. That's a good way to make your career work out, right? The other side of this is to cut your losses. And this one we call the W. And the W means withdrawal. So as a class progresses, remember in the first 2 weeks you can drop a class and you get your money back and you never see it on your record. But you've been in class a long time now, you can get out of a class, and it's coming up next week, this semester actually. On the check for each semester the date's going to vary. Still got to pay for it, don't get any money back. And on your transcript though, you don't get an F, you're going to get a W. W's aren't too bad on a transcript. It shows somebody recognized they couldn't handle their load, so they had to drop a class. Okay? It's not such a bad thing. Probably if you had a whole bunch of them, it wouldn't be so good. But a couple doesn't matter. Now, when does a W help? A W helps you when you have your priorities just don't allow for you to reprioritize. This happens. Okay? If you don't have space for school, maybe you need to take a W for that class. The second one is this class may be taking so much of your time that it's draining the energy you put into your other classes, so you're failing lots of classes. All right? And the third one is that the grade is so bad and you've talked to the professor and it can't be salvaged. There's no way to pass. So these are all reasons why you might take a W. All right? Now, let's look at other considerations. If you are on a scholarship, you will not get credit for any of these credits here. So if you have a 3-credit class and you drop it, no credit. That means if you had 15 credits in this semester, you drop a 3-credit class, you're down to 12. Now 12 is considered a full-time student for most applications. Now if you have a scholarship, go check with your scholarship people to make sure the requirements that you have to be enrolled every semester. For athletic scholarships, it may be 15. For most academic scholarships, non-athletic, it's only going to be 12. So, but if you drop below 12 credits, you're going to lose your scholarship. You might have to pay some of that money back. And it really depends on your scholarship, okay? So, but check that out. The other thing you want to check is to see if your graduation time is a big concern. Now, a lot of people think they're going to graduate in 4 years, so they start out on the 16-credit load. But honestly, a lot of people don't make it in 4 years. And you know what? The 16-credit load may not be for you. You may be a 12-credit person. And that means it takes you a little bit longer to get to graduation. But if it means the difference between you getting there and you not getting there, you're really much better off taking the credits that you can handle in 12-credit unit and groups and then progressing towards your degree. Because that's what we want to look back and see progress, not that it was so overwhelmingly difficult that you failed. All right? So those are your W considerations. To get a W, you have to go get a signature from your professor on a withdrawal sheet. Not hard to do. All right? But when you make this decision, what we're hoping is that you'll be able to sort of refine your progress here, especially if you're not aware of these different options. Reprioritize. If you can't do it, take the W, get out of the class, focus on the classes that you do have left. But really, in the big scheme of things, look at your life and decide where your priorities are and what you can handle at this time. So we really do hope that you'll be able to negotiate this. Go see your advisor. Come in and see me if I'm your advisor, or give me a call, send me an email, and I'll try to give you some other more personalized advice. But really, this is what most people need to look at this time of the semester. You got to decide, what are you going to do next? So good luck.